Welcome to CarTorque with Matty J. Another Tuesday night, more car-related topics. I'm here with Anthony. What's happening?
Not much, mate. Yourself?
Not much, mate. And James from Ambos Movies. What's going on?
Not much. How you going?
Not bad, mate. Not bad at all. Anthony, your car, your XR6 Turbo, big plans. Now it's all rolling into gear, which I thought we'd start off the show with. How's that all looking?
It's starting to come along well. It's always good when you get your tax return back, or as some people refer to it, as the annual car surplus. So now that I've got that, I'm actually getting ready to chuck it into the tuners. So exhaust is all on, high flow cat's all on there as well. And at the end of the day, it should be all good. And of course, obviously intercooler's on as well. Injectors will get supplied and tuned, and 300
kilowatts at the wheels. Now, in terms of more power, would you be satisfied with this? Or I mean, everyone's like, you always want more power.
Oh look, I think part of me is always going to want more power, and just like everybody does, they always love working on their cars and taking the next step and doing that bit of extra something.
Yep.
Whether that will be the end for me or not is still yet to be seen.
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, it's all good to have large power figures, but if you can't use it, there's not really much point unless you're on a dyno every day competing in that regards.
Dyno Queen, yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you don't want to be taking off in fifth gear to a set of traffic lights.
Because you just want to be able to get traction.
Exactly, and I've got a ute as well, so I mean that doesn't help things as it is. Chuck a few cement bags in the back to get a bit of traction, but once you start getting a bit more than 300, 350, 400, then you're really starting to push that sort of limit on the traction. And if it's not usable, then you're really pretty stuffed.
Yeah, that and at the end of the day, I think that comes down to why a lot of people will just have they'll stick to especially with that guy in the XR6 Turbo range, the 300 is a really, really good number just for drivability and in terms of streetability and reliability is exactly a big one too.
And on top of that as well, I mean, once you start getting over those sorts of points, there's a lot of reinforcement you have to do as well. I mean, obviously I've still got the 6, so I don't have Brembo brakes or anything like that on there yet, or PBRs or anything like that, but they will come, obviously, supporting mods to follow. But performance-wise, I mean, after you do those basic ones that I have, it's going to be, all right, bigger intercooler, bigger turbo, braided lines to everything, bigger injectors, turbo side intake if I decide to go down that path, and start getting to forged bolts and forged heads, and it gets to a lot of money for that. The gains, and especially when it's going to be the daily car as well. I mean, already, let's be honest, 300 at the rear wheels is ridiculous for a daily car, but
just a little bit.
But at least it's usable still at 300 comparative to 400 or 450, where it's for a daily car. It's just not practical, and plus it's a manual too, so I mean, automatic, you can probably still get away with it, but
you'd be chewing through clutches a lot, and stuff of that power.
Exactly, and then it's like, all right, great, need to get probably already my clutch holder mode will be the next thing to go after probably be the first thing to actually go, I should say,
because it's probably that is the original clutch in that car. I'd say.
I believe so.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's already seen about 120 odd thousand Ks on it, so I'm waiting for it to go, and this will probably be the thing that kicks it over.
Yeah.
But in saying that, I mean, it's still biting hard and very notchy and holding in place. But then it's just the case of the next step up. How heavy duty do I go? Dual plate.
Do you want leg day or do you not want leg day?
Hey, I lift legs, so that helps things. But one leg will always be bigger than the other.
Like Quagmire.
Who's up?
Yeah. Exactly. Except for legs.
What did he say? He's like, I haven't been out in days or something?
He discovered internet porn.
Internet pornography. Which is always good. I just said that.
Too late. Said. It's out there in the world.
Jeez. I'm going to lose like half my viewer base.
No, you're not.
Actually, I'm going to gain more.
You're going to gain more people.
Okay. Let's just hope Avini didn't hear that one.
She did.
I'm going to cut that section just out of the podcast and just post it on.
On a wall.
Yep, do it.
Oh, man. Quick results. So before I get to that, James, how's everything with you? How's your car, your Maserati?
Yeah, all right. As I said last week, just Mazda has to do the heavy lifting because I'm not gonna I don't want to touch it. Like I've always been the person who, like, you know, people who get the Xbox and they like crack it open to see the insides and they do mods and they clean it.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, like people who build their own PCs. They you know they put all the stuff in the case and all that. And I've always been the person like I don't want to touch anything because I don't like I'll ruin it. So like, I never clean any of my electronics. I never unscrew anything. It's the same with the car. Like I don't want to touch it because I'll do something wrong. It's working now. If I do something will go wrong.
Always does.
But yeah, like as long as I, you know, don't, you know, do something stupid to it, I just, you know, fill it with petrol, fill it with oil, and hope
drive.
Yeah, I just drive.
I hope it keeps going.
For me, yeah, like I'm different from you guys. Like for me, driving's just to get to A to B. I mean, maybe if I got a new car, like I'd enjoy it more and I'd go on cruises and stuff. But at the moment, like my car's like
it's getting you there.
Sometimes you're like, oh, we're going for a cruise. We'll go somewhere, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm not taking my car. My car's not going to last that long.
It's not going to make it.
I'm just going to be like, you know, bumping along. So yeah, no, it's pretty good though.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, I've always been a big fan of Mazdas, and you know, in terms of reliability, I think you've got.
Yeah.
I mean, from what your car's been through, it's still going.
What my sister did to it, it's still all right.
May God have mercy on that. Well, look, we've got to get to our first break of the night. We've got some big news coming up right after this.
Yeah.
Some huge.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned for this.
Where to listen.
Air horn.
Right after this break, we're going to go to a song by Touch Sensitive because he support Aussie music.
Mm-hmm. And
he's just dropped a new album, which was actually really, really good.
Cool.
And most of the album, you just see him driving in the States in a convertible 1990s SL Mercedes. What's pretty cool about Touch Sensitive, with his album that he's released, he's made film clips for every one of the songs, pretty much. So it's just like him just driving a car. And it's like kind of a continuous story in a weird way.
I like Pizza Boy.
Like Pizza Boy, yeah.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I mean, if you don't know who Touch Sensitive is, you probably would have heard Pizza Boy. It's a pretty famous song.
Yeah. It's a cool synthy track.
It is. And he's very synth, and we like to play a little bit of synth on this show. So we'll be right back after this song and short break. That was Lose It All by Touch Sensitive. You're back on CarTorque with Matty J. Still in the studio with, jeez, I've completely got him into blank. Anthony and James, James is from Man vs. Movies. Now, we've got a couple of topics tonight, which we're going to get to, but huge news, especially for this plucky little radio show.
Ooh.
It's probably like the biggest thing to happen for me.
To anyone ever.
Basically, do you remember, James, a few months ago when you said, "Dear Marty and Moog,
yep.
Can you please..."
From Mighty Car Mods.
From Mighty Car Mods, yes. If you're listening, please come on the show. This week on CarTorque with Matty J, I got a message on my obviously our Facebook page. It's CarTorque with Matty J. From the boys from the actual Mighty Car Mods site saying, "Great show. We finally listened to the podcast. Keep it up." And then I got a message from one of the guys saying, "We want to come on the show."
Oh yeah!
How freaking awesome is that?
Mighty Car Mods on CarTorque.
I know. This is like probably like, you know, like all the gods have aligned. It's just like the car gods have spoken to me. And in terms of car royalty in Australia, I think they're pretty.
They're like there. Like if Top Gear was better, is Mighty Car Mods. And also if Top Gear was like actually made by people you know, and not by rich English people.
Yes, the BBC. So for those of you who don't know what Mighty Car Mods is, just Google them. They're pretty massive all over the world. They've got such a huge following, probably one of the biggest followings out.
Getting bigger.
It's getting bigger every day.
Bigger worldwide.
Yeah, they are legit Pitbull Mr. Worldwide.
Oh, no.
I hate that guy.
Too far, mate.
Too far, yeah, I know. But
I'll cut that out and I'll put the bit where you talk about porn in this section.
Just every break, you just got to put it in.
I'm going to use that as my ringtone now.
There was like I was speaking to a lady at work, and I actually saw her doing something. Like I always say to her, "You never do anything," and she's like, "Of course I do work." I'm like, "You just sit around and talk." Anyway, this one time I was like, "Oh my god, you're actually doing work," and she's like, "Oh, I am." So I was like, "I should have recorded this moment."
She realised.
So then I recorded me saying that. I sent it to her. She's like, "You're an asshole." But in terms of how this is going to work, they're going to actually come on the show, which is going to be pretty freaking spectacular. So keep your
Ears open.
Eyes on our Facebook page, as we'll be putting updates as to when they're going to come on the show. Obviously, we're gonna be doing it through our different studios because they have got such a massive schedule and timetable. They just flat out recording and.
I'm surprised they're only in the country of Bathurst, right?
I mean, they're in the country most of the time, but they're always flying around.
Yeah,
to
but
Japan,
they're always going. Yeah, they're always going.
America, Europe. They were in Germany a couple months ago. They actually went there to see their Focus RS getting built, which is pretty damn cool. But they're always
always flat chat.
Always flat chat. They went to they always go to the Fast and Furious premieres and stuff. So in terms of how big they are, they're massive. In terms of how small we are,
yeah,
we're tiny. But in the grand scheme of things,
when I said please come on, I didn't think they'd actually ever hear it. So it's great that they did.
Yeah, dude. I'm gonna have to play that footage again. I'll play it at the start of the episode when they're on. But I want to say a big thanks to those guys because that just shows how in touch with the car community they really are. Someone as small as my 130 page Facebook page, they
soon to go down after your porn reference.
Yeah, so
or up either way.
Or up either way. Yeah, it's a win. It's a win lose. It's just it's a big thing, and it just shows they do support the little guy as well, and because they still essentially are the little guy that's really giving it to the big corporations, in terms of
that's I was saying they're people
yeah,
they're not the weird guys on TV, they're the guys your neighbours who are good with cars kind of thing.
Exactly right, and their personalities you can just pretty much get on with them really super easy. So.
This is I'm pretty sure the episode where I asked them to come on was the same episode where it was just us talking about how great they were.
Yeah, it was.
Which is probably why they're coming on. So this episode is just going to be how great Mighty Car Mods are.
But when we get them on, we're obviously going to think of topics to talk about and stuff like that. So, if you've got any questions, we're going to ask them. Yeah. So if you've got any questions, send me a message and we can definitely ask them. In terms of everything else, they should be coming on. We haven't decided a date yet because obviously with their busy schedule, but hopefully it's in the next couple of months. And hopefully we're going to be able to get them in the studio in the Melbourne studio here.
That would be cool
as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, that'd be killer because we're going to be planning a few other things, but it's so cool. I'm definitely going to go see him at Winton on the 29th. Yep, James and Anthony, they've got. I've got it written down here on my notes. They've got They're
doing a national tour at the moment, for those who don't know.
The Mighty Car Mod Nationals.
Yeah, exactly. So they've done, obviously, capital cities. So they're going to be doing Adelaide, I think, coming up next for them at the moment.
I think it might be, yeah.
Yeah, so Melbourne's still a little bit further down the track, but they've done Adelaide, coming up to Adelaide, they've done Sydney. I think they've still got one in Brisbane going on soonish, and I think they're doing WA as well. I
think they are, yes. Yeah, they are doing, they're doing all over Australia.
Yeah. So it is a national thing, and it'll be pretty good to get down to Winton, of course, and check them out.
Yeah. I mean,
it'll be crazy.
Tickets just to get in are like $20, which is pretty reasonable, considering you're going to be pretty much seeing cars everywhere.
It's going to be a massive car show, basically.
It's probably going to be the biggest car show this year, to be honest with you. In terms of just like a car meet-up car show. You can also drive your car on the track for $140, which is pretty cool.
Pretty reasonable.
Good
track, by the way, for those who haven't.
Yeah, because we did the Nugget Nationals there a few weeks ago.
A few months ago now.
Yeah,
geez. Been a bit of time.
But the Paseo is getting a few bits done.
We'll be back out there soon, very soon.
James had a lot of fun seeing the Nugget get around. But yeah, we've got some semi-slicks planned and a few other little things, and it's going to be it's going to definitely be a big improvement over the last time we were out there.
Oh, definitely be a good competitor.
So yeah, just to clarify, Mighty Car Mods, national tour for Victoria, as it will be held at Winton Raceway in Winton. And that is on the 29th of October this month. So get your backsides down there if you're in the car community, because it's going to be a big event. It's going to be fun. It's going to be, you get to mingle with, I'm assuming you get to mingle with Marty and Moog. You probably get to see Super Gramps and a few of the other cars they've made. Possibly, I'm not too sure what they're bringing down. But keep your, as they say, your eyeballs on their face balls, as they on the interballs as they put all their information about all their latest things, and obviously on their website as well, MartyCarmans.com. Now, a few topics for tonight. We're going to be talking about the age of the hot hatchback, why hot hatches are really they've kind of taken over, to be honest with you, in terms of the performance game, I think. And what can you Barra swap? So, I know I've been talking with Anthony and his brother over the last week of just Barra swap.
Barra the world.
Hashtag Barra the world. What could we do? But in terms of where we'll start with the hot hatches. Now, hot hatches were originally really, really popular only in kind of Europe and in those areas because obviously they got smaller streets, yeah. And, they didn't have the vast distances like we have in Australia. Australia, the reason why hot hatchbacks have really only come strong the last kind of 10 years, I'd say 10 years or so, is because the Australian car industry has kind of died. Next week's the last week, the last one that's being built. But in terms of car sales, people don't want a bigger car anymore. Fuel prices, everyone's going to a smaller car.
Very true.
So people are like, okay, well, how can we get some sort of performance out of a smaller car? Out of a car that's cheaper to run. And they're like, okay, well, a hot hatchback's pretty much the best option for it. So Australians have really taken to hot hatches ducks to water. They're everywhere now. I think it was probably the mid 2000s, because we've always had kind of hot hatchbacks here and there, but now they're just everywhere. Every manufacturer's making one.
I think just off the top of my head, 20 years ago, it was mostly sedans.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much, yeah.
And then slowly, more and more smaller cars, hatchbacks and stuff.
SUVs.
Oh, yeah, and then we won't talk about that.
So, yeah, pretty much the sedans are done here and in other parts of the world as well. They're still going to sell them here, but they're not as popular as they once were. But this has changed in recent times, really, because people want affordable performance, and you're going to get affordable performance in a hot hatchback. In terms of car companies, everyone's kind of doing them. Nissan's got the Pulsar Triple S, Ford's got the RS and ST range, Volvo, Anthony, Mercedes, BMW. Everyone's kind of Subaru even had the WRX as a hatchback a few years ago.
Yep.
But everyone's kind of dipping their foot in the pond. Even Hyundai's in there now with their latest i30N, which we talked about a few weeks ago, as a car we really want to get behind the wheel of. And obviously, the Frenchies have been doing it for years with the Megane, Peugeot 207s. Yep. All those GTIs, Golf Rs, Golf GTIs. But I think the best part about a hot hatchback and what makes them sell so well is that they're so practical. It's a hatchback. You can just fold the seats down, chuck your ski, things in there, your bags in there.
Yeah.
I fit tons of stuff in my Laser. Especially when it's helping my grandma move, my car was on its ass, and it's just full of stuff. So you can fit quite a fair bit in there because essentially when you put the seats down, they're like a wagon. So
just slightly smaller.
So in that aspect, hot hatchbacks are really, 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 I think, effective. And they can do it all. They're really easy to commute with. The parts are usually cheap on them.
Yeah, depending on the model, obviously.
Yeah. And they're actually really fun to drive. They got short wheelbase, and they make driving to me. Every time I've driven a hot hatchback, I come out with a smile on my face.
I was thinking the other day, I was getting the train into the city, and one of the reasons I don't drive the city is because you can't find parking and all that stuff. But I was thinking in Europe, smart cars are really, really popular.
Yeah.
Because they're so small, you can park them anywhere, fit them in between anything. Even though they're terrible, then I hate them. But I was thinking
Barra Swap.
Or Hayabusa Swap.
But I think the reason hatchbacks are popular is kind of the same thing. Is they're a bit smaller, they're a bit easier to drive, especially in the city. So that's why I think people like them.
Yeah, and I think the technology with hot hatchbacks is so good now. Like, before, like a smaller car on like a long distance drive was a really laborious chore. Like they weren't as comfortable and refined as a big sedan, but I think the latest offerings are really, really refined. Like some have got like still stiff suspension from their obviously their suspension tunes, Focus RS. But in terms of practicality and everything else, hot hatchback's a winner.
Yeah.
Because like no one buys wagons anymore because everyone buys SUVs. My
car that shall not be named.
Yes. But having
the
said
boat that shall not be named.
I just find, look, honestly, I hate going back to this, but I find those really, really tiny SUVs, like
I saw one the other day. I'm like,
pointless.
why is that even a thing?
Like if you're gonna buy an SUV, you got to buy a proper one. You don't buy anything like tiny and pointless.
No, when you get to that point, it's like, okay, acceptable SUVs, Volvos
are cool. That's a difference.
XC60, XC90s.
But they're decent sized cars.
Yeah,
though.
exactly.
Like, they're not a tiny like a Trax or something. Like
no, we're not talking
pointless.
about a small. We're talking an actual functional
that can go off road. Yeah,
exactly. But in saying that, it is still a suburban vehicle. It's not a proper four-wheel drive. Different class altogether when you get to that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But XC60, XC90s, and let's be honest, Cherokee.
If you want SRT, yeah,
SRT.
okay. SRT. There's one in the car park just outside of the studio at the moment, a red one. I mean, that'd be my exception to the rule because that actually does have some four-wheel drive capabilities, but it's a Jeep and it'll probably break down after about 2 days.
True. But still that rumble.
But still that rumble, still that Hemi, still that just crazy awesomeness, which I don't think many cars can beat. Me in particular getting chopped. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not going to talk about that story. But in terms of everything else, that was in Mexico, by the way, just in case you didn't know. In terms of everything else, I think a high hatchback makes a really good proposition, and it's good to, and it makes sense to see why there's so many on the road today because, of that reason, how they are practical. So, I think it really is now the age of the hot hatch.
Yeah.
In terms of affordable performance.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to think. When did you get the your car, the
Laser, or
the Laser?
Laser I've had since 2011.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd have a feeling when we were in school, getting a hot hatch as a first car would be looked down upon in a certain way.
Yeah, it was.
Whereas when you got it, like people were starting to come around, and now, like on this show, everyone's like, getting a hatchback or whatever. So,
well, dude, I remember in high school, because like my first car was a 1.6 GL Laser.
It was still stuck with the forwards,
mate. It's technically a Mazda, okay. It was the slowest car in the world, but it was my car. It had no safety features at all.
Didn't.
Dude, honestly, I spent it was like $500 car, as I said before, $5,000 sound system. But I spent more money trying to keep it running because it was it was dead. Well, it was dead when I got it, to be honest. But I learned so much about cars and fix things, and so that was pretty cool. But my story got a bit off track. But what happened was, me, I think it was Grasso. We're the only ones to have like small cars. Everyone else had Commodores. Everyone else had Falcons. Everyone else had like big performance cars.
I had a Magna.
Yeah, you did. You had a Shagna Sports.
The TJ series.
That was a good car, man.
And that was actually TJ Sports. It was a 5-speed. It was solid for what it was.
Yeah.
It still was a big car.
It was a big car. It went good though. It wasn't a slow car.
No, and it wasn't a Commodore or a Falcon at that time, which was my disapproval.
Yes. Well, Grasso and I, in particular, we copped it at high school. You won't remember this, James. Back in the MSN Messenger days, people used to write because we always used to put like our dream plate on as our name tag. So, like, friends from school would put for Grasso in particular WHP SNP Whippersnipper.
Yeah, because we always used to make fun of the Astra because it's an Astra, little Whippersnipper.
So, but yeah, he copped it. I copped it. But at the end of the day, when he actually ran them in Mexico, he was actually kept up, if not quicker, than a lot of them. Yeah. So, for the old 2.2 SRI, in terms of like they just were like laughed at if you had one.
Yeah.
Back this is like 10 years ago. This is and it would be close to 10 years ago. Geez, that makes it sound old. What have I done?
Back in my day.
Back in my day, which is what have I done with my life? I've gone nowhere. No, I have. I'm eating Mighty Car Mods. I'm made now. I'm made. But in terms of like the people's perception on performance, hot hatchbacks have come such a long way, especially in this country where hot hatchbacks were just like, I hate to use the misogynistic term, but it's a girl's car, and like my laser still gets called a girl's car, Anthony. But it's a good car, and hot hatchbacks, as I said, like dude, I'd have a heart attack if I even sat in an RS or anything kind of cool like that. So, I'd need to use the lavatory. But in terms of saying you've got a hot hatchback now, it's a term of endearment because like people are like hot hatches are pretty dope now. Like, so I guess the mentality is coming around that Falcons and Commodores and Magnas and Toyotas and stuff aren't getting made here anymore.
Like the road boat kind of 1960s 70s muscle car thing is kind of being replaced by. I mean, sometimes it's just because of practicality, really. Yeah,
practicality, but also because of availability.
Yeah, and these days as well, with petrol prices how they are, even economy, that's a huge factor of anything.
Yeah, and when we're paying like $1, like approximately $1.40 a litre, give or take up and down.
What am I? I checked 98 in mine today, and that was I think $1.55 or something like that.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, so it doesn't really make it nice, does it? So
no.
But anyway, that's where I think we discuss on hot hatchbacks because I think they are a viable option. It will be sad to see people not driving the old like muscle cars anymore.
Yeah,
they'll still drive them, they'll still be around. But in terms of where performance is heading, I mean, like people are getting Golf R's in like 2.9 seconds to 100, something stupid like that. And Scirocco R's, yeah.
Megane RS's.
Actually, Scirocco R's a nice looking car.
Yeah,
I'd totally rock a Scirocco R in the green.
Yeah.
There's
only a few Volkswagens that rock these days, but that would be one of them.
Definitely a Scirocco R. I mean, I'm pretty sure that they are based on the Golf platform, but
they're just fat.
They're just fat, and they actually look good.
And we're talking with the PH, by the way.
Yes. Sorry if you've got any weight issues. We're not talking about that, but we're talking about fat as in PHAT. We're going to go to our next break of the night. We're going to come back with what would we Barra Swap, Anthony, Mr. Falk. We've been having a good chat about this. I would like to Barra Swap my Merc. But it's going to happen. But we're going to go to a song. We're going to go a bit classic, early, well, not classic, but classic for young people these days. Early 2000s.
Music in my day was much better than this stuff now.
Where we could actually hear the words they were speaking and... Oh, jeez. We're going to get to a song. Do you guys remember the song by Four Strings, Take Me Away?
Yes.
Take Me Away? I'll stop singing.
No, I do actually.
Yeah. Darren Porter reworked the song, and it got released a week ago. And it's actually pretty good. So this is like a modern rework of the song. It's a bit faster.
Yeah.
It's a bit more EDM, even though the song is EDM. So this is it. I thought I'd play it on a show because I haven't heard the song in years, and I heard it once on the radio. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to play this. So this is Four Strings, Take Me Away. We'll be right back after this. You're back in Car Talk with Matty J. We're going to be talking all things Barra Swap. What would we Barra Swap? What would you Barra Swap? If you got any idea what you'd like to Barra Swap, send us a message on Car Talk with Matty J, or write on this podcast, which we'll be uploading later this week. Now, for those of you who don't know what a Barra is, it's the Ford 4-litre inline 6 that's been made by Australia. Since 2002, like the latest iteration of it, I guess the twin cam head and everything, in turbo form because turbo, because race car. What would you Barra Swap, Anthony? Because I'd love to Barra Swap my Merc. Once the engine decides to say, well, it's a Merc, it's not going to die. It's an old Merc. But when it does...
One of the last over-engineered Mercedes before they started worrying about looks more than anything else. And reliability. Cost cuts, yes. Cost cuts, as always. Yes. There's so many options.
There is so many options.
There really is. What do we have? We said...
I reckon the coolest one that we're going to say on this whole list is a Volvo 240 wagon.
Oh, yeah.
Like the big square old Volvo boxes.
As boxy as it can get, with a luggage rack on the top.
Yes.
Just completely stock standard looking.
Sheepskin seat covers.
Old man spec with a Barra.
With a Barra.
You know, not even talking about modifying it, just completely stock FG Barra, 270 at the fly, 220 at the rear wheels.
I'd even have it with the automatic, just because
even if it's automatic, it doesn't matter. That would definitely be up there for sure.
I mean, it's been done with a 2J. A few people do 2J and 1JM actually, but everyone's been 2Jing everything.
Yeah.
And in terms of how much 2Js cost in Australia,
exactly.
they're ridiculously expensive.
That's the whole thing. When you get to one of the next cars I'll say in a minute, but 2Js parts wise still ridiculously expensive, hard to come by. Compared to a Barra, because I mean they're everywhere, and they kept going in taxis, so they're just indestructible as it is, and so easy to work on with so little cost, really.
Yeah, I mean the parts are super ridiculously cheap. I mean, like as you were saying with the taxis, Anthony, they clock over 1 million Ks and just keep going.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
In terms of over-engineered, okay, while the Falcon can be a bit, in terms, not as well built as like a European car.
Correct.
But
mechanically, performance-wise,
they're pretty spot on.
They just keep going.
Yeah,
you can't fault it.
No, you can't. Well, I was speaking to you a while back, Anthony, when we went to the Wreckers that time, and we walked to the Commodore area. All the Commodore area, all their engines were pulled out. We went into the 4.1; they were just still there because they were like, "Well, we don't need them; they just keep going."
Yep. It's tried and true. It's tested. I mean, look, even in saying that, the LSs are still pretty solid.
LSs are solid. Yeah. We're talking about the V6 engines,
true.
Not the LSs, because LS engines like
different story.
LS the world, yeah,
different story. But Barra, it's a inline 6. They just keep going, whether it be NA or turbo or gas. They just keep going. Doesn't matter. Doesn't stop.
You put oil in once a year, that'll be alright.
Even then, that's optional. Let's be honest.
That guy was putting water in it; it was still running. You see that video
I saw that video
Facebook?
that was going on. The guy was trying to destroy it, and just had a hose up there and flushing water through it, and it just kept going. The video went for about 15-20 minutes, and I didn't even watch the end of it because obviously you know what's going to eventually happen. But it just kept going. Even then, it's good luck to anybody else trying to do that through their engine. I mean, if you want to try it and see how that goes for you, go for it and send us a video. But
we'll happily post it on our Facebook page.
Yeah, but still, it just keeps going.
What else would we do, Anthony? We'll talk about a Toyota Crown.
We did. Toyota Crown, again.
An old Toyota Crown, that is. Like a really old one.
We're talking mid-90s.
80s.
80s even.
I prefer an 80s one. 80s one's just nostalgia cool.
Oh, exactly. But have to be something with like the blue suede interior.
Oh, yeah. Velour.
Just, my dad used to have one, so I know.
He did have one.
Actually, he's had 2. One of them, more recently, he had an accident in and sort of got written off. But that's another story. If we had thought about this earlier, we probably would have taken the car off him and Barra swapped it. But again, everybody seems to be 2Jing it or 1Jing it or chucking the V8 in there. Barra the world.
Barra the world. It's because I guess we're the only ones that really kind of get the Barras. I mean, there was actually a guy in the States that I think he got a crate of just Barra turbo engines and just took them over there.
You'd be laughing.
And he was like he put on a post, he's like, look what I've got. And he was just like, he did like a selfie with the Barra engine behind him. Everyone's like, what the hell is that? He's like, you'll wait and see. So, that'd be cool.
Again, sleeper, old man spec, seat covers on it.
Yeah.
Auto.
Louver. Big plastic louver on the back.
Oh, exactly. White walls going on it too.
The big sunshade on the front.
yeah, sunshade and the Venetian blinds on the back as well.
Hubcaps.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But that's definitely up there.
James is like dying in the studio.
You're going to be like bits falling off the car.
Oh, we're not saying they're going to
It's just going to rip parts apart. We're like, whatever.
Yeah. No comment.
No comment.
But still leave drumbacks.
Oh, yeah. Because who needs to stop, really? Come on.
Stopping's overrated.
As Jerry Clarkson said, speeding never killed anybody. It's the sudden stop that did.
Exactly. Very sudden.
In terms of this show, I mean, you're probably kind of getting a picture right now. We kind of like sleepers. They're cars you just don't expect that are going to, like, you just, like, annihilate anything that's on the street. Stagey. I mean, but Stages are kind of quick already, man.
No, I'm just saying, just sleeper.
Yeah, they are in general, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, a Lignum's a sleeper in general, too.
Yeah, exactly. Even a Gallant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the later ones are pretty dope, and all-wheel drive, twin turbo.
Yeah. Caldinas,
yeah, they've got a 3S GTE in them. So,
yeah.
And they went really good. I remember your brother's one freaking flew.
Yeah. 4-speed automatic was its downfall in his case.
If you went in a 5-speed, it'd be better.
They do have not automatic 5-speed, but they do have a 5-speed manual in the older generations.
Yeah.
The newer generations only came in automatic 4-speed.
Oh, really? Okay, that's a bit of a letdown.
Yeah. But
Save the manuals.
They do come with Recaros though in the new generation. So I mean, it's
retrofit, Anthony. Retrofit.
Recaros.
Manual.
Yeah, manual still wins.
So for our 4-wheel drive listeners out there, we've got you guys covered as well. I mean, we were talking about what we could borrow for that. A short wheelbase Page, a short wheelbase Pajero would be freaking awesome.
Definitely. Again, leave it bog stock on the outside. Who would ever suspect a Pajero?
it's funny because it's a Pajero.
Oh, look, let's be honest. It doesn't even have to be a short wheelbase one. Even if you had a long wheelbase, I think it was a Safari Tops one that had that little bit of extra room in it. Something like that. I mean,
that'd be cool. So
much room in the engine bay for it to begin with.
Yep.
But nobody would think anything.
No, I mean it's been done with Mavericks and Patrols, and I haven't seen a Land Cruiser with one yet. It's because Toyota. But that'd be definitely a real cool swap in a Page.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, we've got you guys covered as well. Don't worry for our 4-wheel drive listeners. we've got you guys. I mean, I've seen a few barrel swaps done in like some like S13s and stuff, like some Silvias, which has been a bit odd.
And I've seen a few rat rods as well that always do those as well.
Yes.
Actually relatively common for a few Ford hot rods and things like that I've seen sort of going around, and even just pickups.
I do like those though.
Oh yeah.
Like an old like Ford F100, or even like an older it's like a style side kind of like 50s 50s truck with like a modern Barra turbo and like up on airbags. Full rust on the outside because who cares? But it was like rat rod because it would just smoke the doors of anything, and that's super cool. I'd totally rock one of those. I'd daily one of those.
Oh, no doubt.
I have no issue in daily one of those.
We can dream, man. We can dream.
Now, Anthony, this one's a bit of a strange one for you. What about a Barra swapped DeLorean? Because DeLorean engines are terrible.
True.
I was going to say, isn't like anything an upgrade?
Yeah, pretty much Prius.
Walking's an upgrade.
Flintstone it.
Flintstone it, yeah.
Leg it, done. Cut a hole. That'd be interesting.
It's because it's rear mounted as well.
Exactly.
I've never seen a rear mounted setup for a.
No, I haven't seen a rear mounted Barra set up anywhere, or any sort of rear mounted, whether it be a DeLorean or anything else.
Yeah, I mean it's a rear mid, but it'd be weird because I'd assume there'd be a lot of space in there still because they got a higher end because the way it's angled. So you'd be able to, because the Barra is a tall engine. True. So I'd definitely be kind of interested on that. I'll probably get all the DeLorean people like, you're an asshole. What would you do it to a DeLorean? But having said that,
there's so many modded versions. Mostly because of Back to the Future. But.
Exactly.
Because why not?
Yeah. Well, that'll definitely get you, Back to the Future in a Barra DeLorean.
You'd actually get to 88 miles an hour
without the use of a train, and the car wouldn't break down. Back in the past, you wouldn't have to worry about a train to push you. Because Barra life. Because
turn the key, it's going to start.
Pour water in the engine, it'll still go for the next 20 minutes, and it'll probably still make it up to that 88 miles an hour.
And it might die once you get back, but it'll be you would have made it. Put it that way. Well, if we're on the topic of like sports cars, a De Tomaso Pantera. I mean, that's an Italian car with like a Ford 351 Cleveland V8. Why not Barra swap that? That'd be pretty dope. It'd be crazy. It wouldn't be possible, I don't think, because like they're like super wedgy.
Yeah,
but
it'd be a pretty tight squeeze.
It'd be a tight squeeze, but I reckon that'd be cool.
Yeah, as I said, there's a lot of good options of sleeper cars you can barra swap pretty comfortably.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if people in Skylands are barra swapping their Skylines, I have no doubt. Something crazy and weird like a Pads or a like an old
Crown
240
or something. Again, whatever it would be would just be awesome. And again, I think it has to be done.
Yes,
you do have your Merc, so we got a donor.
We do. I just want it to die so I can change it, but I know it's not going to happen.
You don't want to kill it.
Well, I'll be like,
water.
Yes, record it. See how long it lasts. No, I couldn't do that. If I did that, right now my mechanic would just shoot me. He'd be like, "Are you freaking for real? This is how you kill it?" Yeah, he's the guy I got my car off, and he wouldn't be too impressed. I mean, I'd be like, "It's free." He'd be like, "Yeah, it's free, but it's free to like not put water in it." We're gonna go to our last song of the night. We're gonna go to a song by Echo Vandal. The song's called "Future Heroine." We'll be right back after this. That was Echo Vandal with Future Heroine. You're back on CarTorque with Matty J. We are out of time tonight. Thanks, guys, for coming on the show.
Thank you.
No problem, mate. Anytime.
Hashtag what, Anthony?
Barra of the world.
Hashtag Barra of the world. If it sounds like we like barras, yeah, you're kind of right. In terms of the big news, which was Monte Car Mods, keep your...
stay tuned.
Stay tuned,
keep
yeah.
your earballs open.
Like the Facebook page to keep updated.
Yeah, so we'll be back next week, 7 p.m. If you've missed any of our shows or any of our other episodes, jump onto our Facebook page, CarTorque with Matty J, which we just mentioned. It's spelled TORQUE. We have the link to our Shout Engine page, which houses all our previous podcasts and episodes. We're also on iTunes, so if you prefer iTunes, just search us, CarTorque with Matty J on there. Please subscribe, rate, and review so we can get higher on the rankings. And follow our Instagram page, it's MattyJ_CarTorque podcast, so you can keep up to date with all what we've been up to on the show. But thanks again, guys, for coming on. Next week we'll be talking a few other more topics, which we'll get to then. But as I said, stay tuned because Mighty Car Mods, showing us some big love, and we give them big love back. So until then, thanks for coming on, and thanks for staying tuned to the show every week. Because without you guys, we don't really have a purpose to come on the show. So thank you. We'll see you same time next week. Take it easy.
This is professional radio, gentlemen.
And it's front-wheel drive.
Scotty, have you got anyone you want to thank?
Just myself.
And now we do the after hours. Dun, dun, dun.
Gentlemen, what would you go for?
Dacia Sandero.
Okay, and because it's not a supercar.
But it is.
It's not.
Automotive perfection comes in the form of two letters, A and U.
Long live my LTD.